So here's a question for you. How do you cram more tricks and shooting power into these little rugged video cameras without making them impractically big? Well, Insta360 could well have done just that with their latest flagship, the Insta360 ONE R. GoPro's answer for the Hero 8 is its mod accessories. After the purchase of an additional housing, you can add a shotgun mic, bigger screen and LED light to the action camera when you need them. It makes for a larger, more bulkier solution. But Insta360, which is best known for its 360-degree video cameras like the ONE X, has taken a different and highly ambitious approach with the Insta360 ONE R. Available in various bundles and configurations, we have the more popular Twin Edition here, which includes 2 camera modules, which we'll cover shortly, although this is the first truly modular action camera I've reviewed, and honestly, I think Insta360 have cracked it with this one. There are 3 parts to the system, the first being the base, which also acts as the unit's battery module. There doesn't seem to be much to it either. A red base with nicely curved edges, a single battery connector at the top, and a sliding button that releases the attached modules once in place. With a capacity of 1190 mAh, battery life will depend upon your usage but should provide just over an hour, which is pretty much in line with other premium cameras. The main body of the camera is a separate module and comes pre-attached to the first of our lenses. Simply pull both modules apart and they unclip quite easily, with this half being the main control module, in effect the brains of the camera. With its rubberized finish, we find a status LED alongside some branding on the front, the main battery contact at the bottom, and the unit's power and shutter buttons at the top, again rubberized and providing a tactical yet satisfying click with each press. On the outer side, we find a small door that, unlike GoPro, is easy enough to open and reveals a cavity for a microSD memory card to be inserted, along with a USB-C port that can be used for charging the battery, once connected of course, as well as connecting accessories such as the external mic adapter for instance, and it all seals away nice and easy too. Otherwise, we have a rather small LCD display on the rear, which we'll come back to in just a moment, finishing off the control module. There's no tough locking mechanism to keep the camera block and the camera lens parts together, just the connectors on the inside keeping both modules in place quite firm, but the ONE R feels even more rigid when you clip the battery base in at the bottom, which locks easily into place. As an overall design, the Hero 8 Black looks more accomplished and its soft touch finish feels better too, but Insta360 has managed to make the modular design here seem almost practical. It's only a touch bigger than the GoPro 2, yet still very sturdy. Although to mount the camera to anything useful, you'll need to insert it into the included case, rather like a frame mount, which helps keep all 3 modules firmly together during the toughest of scenarios. It's easy enough to unclip and slide the camera into place though, making it fully compatible with the GoPro mounting ecosystem, so all the GoPro mounts you may have collected over time will work here just as well. It's IPX8 water resistant too, up to 5 meters. This means accidental dunks are no problem and surface level swimming may be okay, but those who want to take it diving will need to invest in Insta360's separate diving case. Oh, and this case needs to be installed for the camera to be water resistant by the way. It doesn't actually cover any of the ports, but presumably applies more pressure to keep the internal seals between modules nice and tight, something we don't need with the Hero 8. The casing not only adds a little extra bulk, but also introduces an area where the modular design is a little impractical. If the battery runs out mid-shoot for example, you need to unmount it, remove it from the case and actually take the camera apart. The GoPro Hero 8 Black's side-loading battery compartment is much more convenient in this regard. Saying that, luckily you don't need to go through the same rigmarole to swap microSD cards thanks to the little flap on the side, which the casing does not block. Nevertheless, when it comes to the actual hardware, for a modular design it works exceptionally well. There are no locks to fumble about with, and all 3 parts fit together nice and firm. No issues there at all. One of the downsides to this modular design though is the screen. It's small, and there's no upgrade to anything larger either, so we're stuck with a 1.3-inch square display, which is around the same size as the front screen on the DJI Osmo Action. The GoPro is much better in this regard, so this is simply something you'll need to swallow. I wouldn't say it ruined my Insta360 ONE R experience though. You can still line up the horizon perfectly well on a postage stamp size screen. It's simple to use too. adopting swiping gestures to accomplish all tasks. Swipe from the top to enter camera settings, where we see several icons complete with tooltips highlighting the function of each, and there's even an option to connect a set of Apple AirPods here too, and we can also enter the camera's general settings menu. Swipe from the bottom to change camera modes, from the right to enter advanced level camera settings, and in from the left to view captured footage, all nice and easy. You can also tap icons on the screen to change shooting mode, as well as enter the resolution settings, where we can also enable the flow state function, a feature similar to GoPro's hyper smooth stabilization, which we'll test shortly. Although the menu system works well and is rather smooth, the only minor issue I had with scrolling is at times it would flick through settings too fast, so a slow finger sweep motion will give better results. There was the odd bit of stutter, and it does need polishing up with future updates, but otherwise it all worked pretty well, with all options being within easy reach without being buried deep within menus, which is also great when it comes to action cameras such as this. Of course, you do also have the app, and with a quick and easy connection process you'll find a live feed of what the camera sees, with the ability to change settings and modes here too. All pretty simple stuff. There is the odd bit of latency that we've become accustomed to with action cameras, and note that it seems like portrait mode is the only way to go, but otherwise it seems rather reliable and gets the job done. In its default configuration with the 4K camera module connected, we have a typical action camera style setup. Although thanks to the modular nature of the design, we even have the ability to switch the design around so that the screen faces forward towards you for some great vlogging action. It's a little fiddly when using the case, but the option is there and it works really well, adding to the versatility of the camera as a whole. The Insta360 ONE R even has all the modes I would ask for. You can shoot 4K at 30 or 60 frames per second, max frame rate rises to 200 frames per second at 1080p, and the middle ground 2.7K resolution tops out at 100 frames per second. And that's all at 100 megabits per second too, so it's all pretty impressive stuff. There's even HDR video and photo capture, as well as time shift, which is like GoPro's time warp where it speeds up time. Nevertheless, the sharpness of the captured video is really good, and the effectiveness of the stabilization, which Insta360 calls flow state, is rather similar to that of the Hero 8. Both are great, and the ONE R captures a lot of detail at 4K resolution in good lighting. In fact, it goes one better. The Insta360 shoots with significantly lifted shadows, bringing more detail out of the darker areas of the image. This initially makes the ONE R clips look brighter, with a HDR-like effect even when you do not use the HDR mode. GoPro's videos are generally more contrasty, but lifting out shadow detail is one of the main things you might want to do in edit. My main issue with the camera though is frame blurring with lower light. This is the kind of side effect of movement that can't be fixed by electronic stabilization and leads to more blurred textures and softened detail during motion, more so than the Hero 8. GoPro's processing is significantly better too. Its noise reduction techniques tend to reduce texture detail less in shadow areas and result in cleaner textures even in something as fundamental as the gradient of a partially cloudy sky. When it comes down to real-world usage though, while both cameras can produce very pleasing looking video, you have a lot more to work with when you take a GoPro's footage into a pro-grade image editing application. For casual use, they are not too far apart, and for social media, the Insta360 is the way I'd probably most likely go, due to its sheer versatility. But if you're making short films rather than holiday video or bike ride memories, you'll notice the difference when using a Hero 8. Note though, we do have the option of a larger 1-inch sensor with the Insta360 that shoots 5.3K video and offers super high quality capture. Unfortunately, I don't have one to test, but there we are again with the beauty of the modular design the camera provides. What we do have in this twin pack though is this, a 360-degree lens attachment, and with a quick switch you're ready to shoot 360 video. It's just like having the GoPro Hero 8 and the GoPro Max in one neat and tidy package that costs a fraction of the price too. There's even a lens protection cover included in the package for when you're storing or transporting the camera in this configuration, something GoPro would probably charge extra for. The 360-degree module shoots at up to 5.7K resolution, 30 frames per second, and Insta360 has nailed several of the essentials. Stabilization is excellent, and so is the stitching. you'll just see a slight flutter pass over the image if your crop of a 360-degree video jumps over the border between the two lenses' views. And just like the GoPro Max, image sharpness drops off significantly towards the edge of each lens, so nothing new to this camera, and all in all it's actually really impressive, offering various fun modes to create a video project for your intended audience. Shoot in lower light and get more of those blurred frames though. The GoPro Max is not immune to this effect, but it is less pronounced and distracting than in the Insta360 ONE R. Note that you can't simply pull video off the ONE R by plugging it into your laptop and dragging off the files. They need to be exported either through the mobile app or the Insta360 Studio application on your computer. This likely lets the camera enhance its editing and stabilization using much more powerful processing than the camera itself has. It's a clever tactic, but adds another step to the process. Editing your 360-degree video is quite similar to the GoPro experience. You choose key points across the footage in the Insta360 app, selecting fields of view at that point, but instead of pinch zooming or rotating to get the desired frame, you choose one of 5 fields of view and then drag the view around. This is a bit more limiting than the GoPro style, but it is not distinctively worse, and it is just as quick. There's also a subject tracking option in the edit, letting you keep a subject at the same spot in the frame using object recognition. This is a neat way to get a professionally edited look with almost zero effort. The Insta360 ONE R has 2 microphones, one fewer than the GoPro Hero 8, and although the tone seems quite different to the GoPro, I was left perfectly happy with the audio quality. Recorded sound is not tinny or thin, and low bass frequencies are represented quite well, although the GoPro is also better at picking up environmental sound than the Insta360 ONE R, which is no surprise considering it has an extra microphone. There's no bulky solution for connecting external mics with the ONE R though, with a small mic adapter being available, as well as a different housing complete with an accessory shoe on top. As noted, the standard 1150 mAh battery is just slightly lower in capacity than the Hero 8. Like most action cameras, it's easy to drain down in a day. If you take longer clips, you should be able to get around 60 minutes recorded before it runs out, and a recharge takes just over an hour too. If that's not enough though, and you don't want to fumble about with changing batteries, a boosted battery base is also available, which is a little thicker but doubles the standard battery capacity, and it even has the GoPro style finger mounts built straight in too. There's so much more to this camera than I could possibly cover in this review. Various mounting solutions and setups are available too, depending on the type of project you're looking to create, and the modularity is really good. I mean seriously good. If you fancy having the versatility of a 4K action camera with the option of turning it into a 360-degree camera, then the ONE R Twin Edition is perfect for you. Slightly pricier is the premium 1-inch wide-angle mod for those who want more professional level quality. Don't get me wrong though, I'd still recommend GoPro cameras for filmmaking projects and YouTubers who want the absolute best image quality. However, let's not forget the reality here. The Insta360 ONE R can capture great 4K video and solid 360-degree footage for less money, while the modular approach is largely a success and adds little to the thing's size. The creative potential here is huge. Multi-lens modularity aside, the accompanying software offers extremely accessible dynamic editing that can be worked into a larger project if you want to get ambitious. It may not set new standards for image quality and polish, but the Insta360 ONE R's modular flexibility as well as a complete package overall is very hard to beat.